And you know, anywhere you got a lot of bait, you got a pretty good chance of catching a bass. So I never caught one here yesterday, but I caught some the day before, and you know, it's a pretty good chance that those shad are up closer on these flats during the mornings and then move a little further off in the afternoon. So that was one reason I wanted to start on this little flat, hoping I can get a good bite.
If there's any guy who's feared in this lineup of 5 anglers, it's this man right here, David Fritz from Lexington, North Carolina.
Boy, I love to watch him fish that crankbait. And you wouldn't think, well, you know, he's just going to take it and throw it out and reel it back to the boat, but he fishes it. I'm telling you what, he is so in tune with what that lure is doing out there, and it's very important to him. He's just the greatest at that.
He's a good one. This is a good fish. Oh, no, he come off. Man, that was the fish I've been fishing for. No. No. That was probably one of the best fish I've hooked in this tournament.
Well, Steve Daniel is not going to stray far. In fact, on the other side of him, I believe, Jerry, you can see our weigh-in tent right there.
That's us in the tent having coffee. Steve will be glad to hear about that, won't he?
He'd take a little of that. Ooh.
Look out.
He's making his good fish count. Morgan and Fritz, we've witnessed, lost 2 big fish. You can't do that today. Not today.
The big one there, just the colored part of that fish, the same color as this water here, sort of brown and tan.
That's right. And you know, you're probably only going to get 1 strike like that during the day. That's just the way things are, and you need to be ready.
We're staying now.
Of course, he's referring to the fact that he's going to stay on that riprap.
What did it for him yesterday?
Well, another fish without the lure hitting the water, Tommy.
Andy Morgan.
He's a magician.
He's working his magic for us here today.
Boy, he is fishing shallow water. You can see those weeds just barely out of the water.
Close to being a keeper.
I have an idea it was a foot of water he was fishing in.
Going out now to the lake to Steve Daniel, who is out there not far from our weigh-in site here. And Steve told us yesterday he knows where some fish are, and if conditions are just right, he could bring in a big stringer. Are we being dishonest about that? Is that the truth, Steve Daniel?
Well, so, you know, who knows? I've struggled today. Luckily I've caught 2, and they're both nice ones, and I just need to catch 3 more. I fished my shallow pattern. I haven't done any good at all with it.
How do you like in the weather? Is this what you wanted or not what you wanted?
Yeah, it don't really matter. The water is real high. I thought maybe the shallow spinnerbait fish would bite. I hit my key areas, never had a bite, so I got out of them. And if I had caught 1 in that spinnerbait area, I would have probably run it the rest of the day. But I'm going on defense now. I'm going to try to catch 3 more.
Steve, what do you mean when you say you're gonna go on defense now?
Well, I got a little place over there I can work hard and catch 3 more. I knew I could catch 7 pounds yesterday, and I did. And actually, I caught the 3-pounder out of that area, so there may be some better fish there than I think. And I'm just going to go back over there and not try to really do anything fancy. I'm just going to go fish hard, and I know I'll catch 3 more.
All right, well, we'll be watching, and we'll be with you every step of the way. That is Steve Daniel out there, 5.5 pounds, unofficially our leader at this point, but there's a lot of fishing to come here at the Johnson Evinrude FLW Tour.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by Ficht Fuel Injection, the best of all worlds. By Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Chevy Trucks. And by Stren, the most dependable fishing line in the world.
Yeah.
Steve Daniel is our leader with about 4.5 pounds of fish here on Championship Day on the FLW Tour Championship. But here's the 3rd fish for David Fritz.
You never know when you're going to catch one here.
Nelson Walker still waiting on his first fish out there. Nelson, is the wind starting to blow pretty good on you?
Yeah, the wind's blowing pretty good up here, but I don't think it's going to hurt that much. There'll be some docks that I'm fishing that'll be harder than others. I'm only throwing an 1/8 ounce lead, but it's only a couple feet deep, so it only has to sink a little ways.
Well, you know, we all found it so interesting over there at Santee Cooper, you fishing right in front of your house. You're kind of lost over here, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been looking for that rock pile. I've been having a hard time finding that. I've started off kind of bad this morning. I've already missed 2 fish, and I lost 1 keeper fish, and I just broke one off under a dock about 4 pounds, so that was my kicker fish.
We realize it's still early, Nelson. Want to tell you right now that Steve Daniels got about 5.5 pounds, about 2.5 pounds for Andy Morgan, and David Fritz already opened up with about 4.5 pounds. Now, of course, there's a lot more time to fish, but what do those totals mean to you?
Well, my fish, I think, in here have been biting in the middle of the day anyway, and if the sun will ever come out, I think it'll pull these fish on the docks a little bit better.
Why do you think the sunshine will pull the fish to the docks?
There's a lot of shallow cover in there. I mean, there's a lot of trash in the water and just a bunch of junk, anywhere from 12 inches to 3 feet deep. And some of these bites I'm getting are coming in kind of in the middle of nowhere. And if the sun will come out, I think it'll pull them in the shade of these docks.
All right, Nelson, thanks a lot, and we'll visit with you a little bit later. That is Nelson Walker from South Carolina out there still looking to boat his first fish here and get into the race, and he's certainly got plenty of time to do that.
Oh, he's a good one. Stay on.
The better to see you with, David Fritz. We gotta see him if we're going to see the fish.
David is interesting. He has, Tommy, how many bass has David Fritz caught in his life? Like 1 million?
Oh, has to be.
And he is still enthusiastic. Every fish he gets is like a big one. I gotta get
as big as your leg, he says.
Big as it. It is good to see everybody so that enthusiastic, though. Cranking away, David Fritz is.
Well, that helps.
One problem I think I had yesterday fishing this type of water, it's very important to get your bait in close. And with the third day fishing with the amateurs, you have to keep them out where they can cast, and it makes it really hard for either one of you to get a real good cast.
Well, that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that, Jerry.
Yeah, and Steve is such an intelligent fisherman. As we've talked about before, he is a teacher of fishing, so he knows every little trick, and his tricks are working right there on, what is it, Highway 441 above him?
441, one of the main trunks through Georgia. And that'll be the 4th fish now for Steve Daniel. That should put him close to about 5.5 or 6 pounds.
And he's going up one side of that riprap, which is like about 1/8 of a mile, and turning and going down the back side of it. Same distance.
One more, and then I just need a good one. Now I'll feel a lot better.
Jerry, here's our chance to talk to a guy we haven't seen out there this year, a guy who has worked so hard through the FLW series to get, but he's just been out of the range of the cameras. That you were the first, at one point, the youngest man ever to win a pro bass tournament in America. Now you're a few years older now. Do you look at it any different now than you did when you were 19 years old?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I've got a lot more discipline about me. Well, I mean, you know, every